Hi guys, it's Andrew here from Eastonmade today, and I'll tell you, that's a peach of a morning out here. It's beautiful out here. It's Sunday morning, it's around 20 after 7, the birds are singing, sun's coming up, and it doesn't get much better than this, I'll tell you. Today we're gonna go and we're actually gonna throw the track back on our skid steer. Yesterday wasn't quite as nice of a day. I was out there clearing up some brush with the brush grapple and getting the spot ready to bring some logs in there. The track come off the skid steer. I was out there playing around, and I don't know whether it was a combination. Maybe the track was a wee bit loose, or maybe a piece of brush got up in and knocked it off. I'm not quite sure, but regardless, there's no the track's off the skid steer, and we're gonna take you guys along, kind of show you how to put one back on. And I wanted to ask you guys what you saw to the tracks, anyways. Like, I'm not quite sure if they wore out or whether it was a lack of maintenance on our end of it, not keeping them tensioned or what. So I want to hear from you guys. You guys that have had these skid steers and had lots of experience with them. It'd be nice to know. And on that note, I just want to say how great of a machine this JCB is. Like I said, I haven't owned a lot of them. I've been around a lot of them. Dad's got a Bobcat. He has a Kubota, and then we've had a cat before too, in at Bell's. And running all of them, my impression of it is that the JCB is a lot heavier built than the other ones. The Bobcat's a good chunk of a machine. It's good and heavy, but it's not quite as nice to run as what this JCB is. Just climbing in and out of it, the general function of it, how heavy it's built. I couldn't be happier with this JCB skid steer. Like, if you're looking at one, make sure you really consider JCB. I got this one from Reese Equipment down in Maxville. A good friend of mine, Lyndon Comboy, works down there. He's a salesman down there. So if you are looking for anything JCB or case, make sure you give Lyndon a call. If you meet him once, you won't ever forget him. I'll tell you, he's just that great of a guy. He's pretty fantastic, my old buddy Lyndon. So anyways, we're gonna need a handful of tools to do this. We're gonna need a bottle jack to get the back end of the machine up. It's off both sides, so we gotta use the bucket to get the front of it up, and then we gotta use the bottle jack to get the back of it up. We're gonna need a grease gun to tension the tracks back up, and make sure you bring an extra tube of grease with you, because if your grease gun's anything like my grease gun, I'll tell you, it's likely empty. And we're gonna need to grab an impact to get the cover off and get the fitting out of the tensioner itself, and then we're gonna need to grab a pry bar to pry it back. The only thing that I'm missing in my bucket right now is a tape measure. There is an actual spec on tensioning up these tracks. I think it's 1 inch to 1.25 inches on the front roller when you're lifting it up. I'm gonna double check that in the owner's manual. It is in there. It was either the first tension or the second tension. It's one or the other, but I will double check that before I dive into this too far. So anyways, guys, come along with us here. We'll throw this track back on. If you like this video, hit the subscribe button down on the bottom and give her a big thumbs up. We're normally doing wood splitter videos and stuff like that, but I figured this would be a good thing to just bring guys along. Like, I know a lot of guys seem to be intimidated by these track machines and the maintenance on them, but this really isn't a big job. I'll tell you, it's a lot better than fixing a hole in a tire or something along those lines. And the advantages of having the track machine, just the lift capacity, how smooth they are, the power they have, it's just so much more superior. Like, I owned a wheeled Bobcat, an old I'm not even quite sure, I think it was a 632. It was an old girl, propane powered. That was the first skid steer I had, and then when I started building splitters, I wasn't near heavy enough to pick up a splitter, so I ended up buying the Terex. We bought the Terex because the first shop that I started working in, I needed something low enough that I could actually get in the garage door. The garage door was only about maybe 6.5 feet. It was enough that it might not have even been that much. I know I had almost stuck going through the door, so that's about how low my first shop was in Glentay. And now we ran it for several years out here, the old Terex, and it was a good machine. We had really good luck with it. And again, machines get bigger, machines get heavier, and we need more capacity, so that's why we end up upgrading this JCB there last winter. So anyways, guys, I'll go ahead and quit talking. We'll get at this. I'll show you how to do this, and I really appreciate you taking the time today to watch this video. Well guys, we made it back here to where the skid steer is. As you can see, the track's off the front idler and it's off the back one here too. So like I said, what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to jack the back of this up, lift the front of it up with a bucket, loosen the tension of the track off, and then slide it back on. It shouldn't be too bad of a job at all. But just looking at that, I don't think there's really a whole lot wrong with that track. Like some of the rubber's off the cleats or whatever, but I think once you get a couple of hours on a skid steer, that's kind of what's going to happen. They don't look like they're marked up real bad. It doesn't look like they're really damaged at all. I'm going to go around and look at a couple of more of them here before once I get it loosened off here. Let me know what you think though. Like I said, this is the first tracked machine I've had, and I don't think they'd be wore out yet. Like I said, they don't look like they're damaged or anything. I think it was just a matter of where we're working here, like lots of stumps and lots of brush. So I'd imagine a piece of brush maybe got up into a sprocket or something and just walked the track off on us here. But we'll get her going here and let me know what you think. Well guys, we got to get the back of this up here first, up in the air, and then we're going to use the bucket to lift the front up, and the track should be right off the ground and allow us to get it back on there. And as you can see, like every other human being in the world, I have no idea where the handle is for my bottle jack, so their vice grip should work just fine for me, I think. So we'll get this up in the air. As you can see, I put a block of wood underneath that, just because if you don't, then obviously the jack's just going to keep going. There's not enough surface area there for that to actually stay in one spot. On concrete and stuff, obviously you're fine, but on soft ground like this, you want to make sure you have something underneath it. Hopefully that's enough to get us up off the ground there. I'm not sure if it will be or not, but we'll try. Well, that looks like it's got us there. I don't really like that jack at the back there. It's kind of cockeyed on me, so I might lower that down and see if I can't reposition that. So I might. I think that should be okay. It's pretty square back there anyways, so. So what we have to do with this is this is the cover to get into where your tensioner is. The tensioner is just filled with grease. That's what we need the grease gun for. So we just pull the couple bolts out of here. They're 13 mil. That off there, and you can see in there there's actually two parts to that. There's a grease fitting and then there's the plug. You got to pull the plug out to actually get that off. I think it's a 7/8. I got one in my pocket here, and it is. And when we pull this out, there's going to be an awful pile of grease come out of this, because that whole cylinder is full of grease and we got to pull the tension back on it. So you can see that loosening off there now, just a little bit of tension that's on that track. How much looser that's getting. You can see the grease coming out of it too. There. Shouldn't be too bad to get that back on, I don't think. There it goes. So now we get our pry bar. We'll try and get it around the back here first. If we get around the back, then we can lower it down and then we don't need to put any more faith than we need to in that bottle jack. And rule number one, doing something like this, don't ever put your fingers where you wouldn't put your dick. That goes for just about anything like this. If you've ever worked on equipment, you know exactly what I mean. Well, that's a life lesson right there. If you've never heard that, that's what to live by, believe me. Don't ever get underneath it, don't ever get near it. Is it can go ahead and pinch your pry bar all at once, but if it pinches your finger, you're not going to have it anymore. Better shift it over there pretty good. I think that's under there. Working on the front here. I think that's what we go for changing this track too. I guess if you ever wanted to put a different set of tracks on it, heard of people doing like snow tracks and stuff like that. These tracks are really good in the snow. These are the factory ones that come with the JCB. And they've been really good. Been really happy with them in the winter time anyways. Mind you, I don't ever normally need to go up and around uphill or anything too rigorous with it. Normally we're just plowing snow and it's flat in our yard anyways, so. I think I'm just going to lower that down a wee bit and hopefully take the slack out of the bottom of that and then get it back around there, because that track is fairly heavy and I think right now I'm just fighting away the track. So. Yeah, I think that got her. Got all kinds of room there now. Hopefully I got her. Oh, got a wee bit more, I think. Let's shift that over. There's a little bit of play in that wheel. Maybe they're supposed to like that, but it's okay. Yeah, I'm just gonna lift that up just a wee bit more. I think I don't need very much, but you can see all that slack come out to this side of it here, and that's gonna allow us to shove that over. So I'll just lift that up a little bit more, and hopefully we'll be back in business here. Oh, we're golden there now. Hopefully get that right over top of that. There, we got her on the top. Get her jimmied over and get her on the bottom. A little bit more. I might go ahead and pump some more grease back into this. Might be a little bit easier to get it on there. See, we're on the top, and we just have to get a little bit more tension on, I think, just to get it going there. So we'll clean up our fitting. It's covered in grease, obviously. There it is here. So what this is, I think, is a check valve in there that will hold it. So if you don't take the whole plug out, it won't work. You can take just the grease fitting out, but it won't actually take the tension off the tracks. So set that there. Grab a handful of that grease, big mitt full of her. There. Get that cleaned up as best we can. There. Wipe that off good, make sure there's no dirt on or debris. Don't imagine it would hurt something that's too terribly bad, because the cylinder really isn't moving. It's not like a normal hydraulic cylinder or something like that that's moving in a system and all that kind of stuff. It's pretty well just a cylinder in there, and you pump it full of grease, and since fluid can't be compressed, it pushes the track out and holds it there. There's also a big spring in here just in case you do get something in it that it'll have a little bit of give there, which I'm assuming is likely what happened. I'd imagine I got a piece of brush or a stick or something in this, and that's what popped it off. And if you're ever looking for a grease gun, guys, one of these All-Mite grease guns, that's about the best grease gun you can buy. I've tried big name brand ones and stuff. That All-Mite, she's pretty reliable. It doesn't very often fail us, and it works good. So we should see that track starting to move here in a couple of seconds. So it might be down us. We might be out of grease. Let's double check that. I don't know how much. Oh no, we still got some coming out of her. I think these will normally take about a tube of grease to fill these up, or somewhere around there. It looks like that's about how much come out of there. So logically I would think that we got to put that much back into there too, so. I think our track's starting to move there now. So you can see if you were pumping this by hand, you'd probably be sick of pumping by now, I would think. However, you gotta do what you gotta do. If that's all you got, you gotta work with what you got. Well, you can hear she's running out of grease there now. That's why we grabbed that extra tube, because I didn't think we'd have enough there to make her. Yeah, that tube's done. We'll get that out of there, get a fresh tube in, and we'll keep going. You have to run over and check that owner's manual too. I think it's this side that you take the measurement off of. Like I said, I think it's between 1 inch and 1 1/4 inches. Is where you want that track tension to. So. Well, I don't think this takes any kind of special grease at all. This is just Napa wheel bearing grease. There are different greases out there. I don't know if there's a big difference between one or the other. That being said, I have seen some lubrication that is definitely a lot slicker than others. Worked in a local factory for years, and they had some stuff there that if you got on an oil filter, even if the filter was loose, you still wouldn't be able to get it. It was that slippy. You couldn't. There'd be no way you'd ever be able to get your hands around it. It was pretty extreme stuff. And you can see how good that all-night grease gun recovers. And this by no means is a new grease gun. This grease gun probably gets half a dozen tubes through it a week, I would think. And around there. I know, check that owner's manual. I'll be right back. Yeah, so it is the second roller in. So it's this one here. The measurement should be between 1 inch and 1 1/4 inches. Try and get that tape in there. We're about 1 1/4 inches right there now. I'm gonna try and go about 1 inch on it. Just because a little bit tighter is probably a little bit better than a little bit looser. I don't know for sure. Maybe the skid steer guys can tell me for sure. That's about 1 1/16 inches. So I'm gonna leave it there just so I don't overdo it. And just like that, we're back in business. Your track's back on your skid steer. If you ever had to change a set from snow tracks to summer tracks or whatever, you can see that didn't take us very long to do that at all. That was a pretty simple and easy job. There wasn't really a whole lot there. Like in terms of doing the undercarriage and stuff, it looks like there's just a bolt on each side of it. It's like a dozer. You just pull the bolts out and they should pretty well fall out of there. There might even be a pocket in here that they'll roll down to. So there's really not a whole lot there, guys. Like I said, if you're looking at one of these track skid steer, this is how you put it together. Let me know what you think of this stuff. Like I said, I've been around these quite a bit, but I've never really noticed if that would be wore out or not. There's a little bit of marking on a few little burrs on the ends of them, but I suspect it was just a piece of brush come up in the end of the track and peeled her off there. I don't think it was any fault of the machines at all. I think it was operator error on that one. So anyways, guys, if you liked the video, give her a big thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button down on the bottom, and let me know what you think of it. Thanks a lot.